Well, I've got the pretty little Deere home, and took a couple of months to order it. So we're gonna get off the trailer. It's a rainy day in the Northwest. Good day to be playing around with something like this. Well, what do you think, Gary?
I think it's amazing.
Oh, yep, better be. It was expensive. Yeah, I decided to pull it in here to the truck shed since it's such a wet day. Wally! So I chose to get the gas version. The diesel, I've heard, is kind of a slug, and I'm well acquainted with slugs because the Kubota's got that 900 Kubota that you've seen on the videos. It does not like hillsides. So in an upcoming video, I'd like to do a little race with the Deere and the Kubota up some of our steep hills, and we'll just see how the performance is. You know, the Deere against the Kubota. And Wally's like, oh no, he ain't gonna be able to keep up with this Deere. He outruns the Kubota all the time. Oh, Wally's getting turbocharged. Well, we're gonna pull it into the shop here. Except for I don't have the door open. This is the rear window that I ordered for it. It has a slider in it. And unless you pay big, buku, kind of silly, stupid money, it is. It's nice and warm in there. I was talking about, let's see, this one is the 835R. And it doesn't come with a rear slider unless you just buy one and switch them out. So I'm going to sell this one that's in there and put the slider in. The slider is standard on the fancy signature version, and I don't need a fancy image signature version per se. I guess some of the things that this wouldn't have, since it's not a signature, is just regular vinyl seats instead of leather, and maybe an inlay in the door panel. I'm sure there's other things. I haven't really studied or researched all that so much just yet, and I don't really need to. But the vinyl works great for us. And anyway, let's get to changing out these windows. So we're going to trade out this window immediately. Take off these locking nuts. The glass sits in a little rubber seal. And here's the replacement with a slider, which was important because I wanted to be able to communicate if I got somebody riding in the back. In fact, actually, this is the pad that you can throw in the bed of the truck. I've used it in the Kubota, but those bolts go all the way through the glass, and then I had the rack added just for protection because I'm kind of a rough, reckless fellow sometimes. There'll be firewood in here and stuff, and I don't want to buy this window twice, right? So I'm going to set this up, and we'll just do fast motion. Watch Gary replace this thing. I've got strict orders to stay away from this glass because he was afraid I'm probably going to break it. And he's probably right. Well, just like that, we got a slider. Kind of like how when you open this little spring-loaded latch, it'll lock at certain points along the way. Pretty obvious. That's going to allow us to communicate. I got a rider in the back for going on a little tour of the property, and more air ventilation, which is nice. And speaking of which, the front windshield, it releases and it opens up. You can like latch it part way like that. Let's see, it's kind of hard to film in. Not a very good multitasker. That would allow a little bit of ventilation through the front, or if you're sitting someplace and you want an unobstructed view, whole thing opens up. It's got the gas shocks. Pretty cool. There's nothing to talk about. Well, we're gonna put some lighting up here. You can buy them from Deere, but we're just gonna go on the internet.
So 7-inch.
7-inch, and it comes with the pretty good lights down below, and I guess you could even add some there, but I think it's more worthwhile to have some lighting that's higher up on the cab. And they've got the preformed canopy that's obviously designed to have them.
And 8 in the back. So
Front
7.
and back. Just do all 7 all the way around.
Yeah.
So there's the new slider. Literally in and out about 8 minutes. So if anybody wants to buy a rear slider, if you've broken your glass, well, we have one for cheap. I don't know how much it'd be. I think this one was $312 for a slider. So we'd crack you a deal. And the other cool thing, tilt steering. Like you just hit this lever here, you can do whatever size you are. A lot of good amenities, features. It really is quite pickup-like. And warm or cool if you want cool. So when you got to get to the hood, this whole contraption here has these little spring-loaded releases, both sides, in order to tilt that back. Kind of like a snowmobile hood, there's a little rubber on both sides. And there's the access. Talk about compact. I don't want to try to pull anything out of there. I'm no mechanic, but that looks like a long time to get anything fished out of there. But that's par for the course when you're got a lot of engineering to make these things compact. So with this windshield popped open, we've taken a measurement to kind of calculate. Got to be a 7-inch light, no bigger, or it's going to bind up and bump into this glass when it's coming open. So pretty cool. And we do have some extra switch openings here when we add for the lights. We have toggle switches for front lights, forward lights, and back lights. A lot of nice extra options that they've put into the dash for potential additions. Oh, it's a great day to test out the wiper. And honestly, it ain't the greatest wiper. It's better than nothing. It does have the little squirt juice stuff if we're dirty, which is great. But it is leaving a streak right there. So I'll probably put a better wiper on, see if that fixes it. We've tried bending the housing up there to put more pressure against the windshield, but that didn't get much result on that. Dump bed activated by this dash switch. It says it'll lift 1,000 pounds. Now if it's rainy and you got your windshield open, I advise sticking a little rag up there in the corner because it likes to drip down and land on your knee. So there you go, just like that. Not a terrible deal, but it is nice to sit here on a rainy day and look out and watch the ducks swim around. They're waiting for their food. Got a loud horn. Well, one thing I did notice was when you're sitting in the cab, there's no place to put your elbow. Not really comfortably. Now I know that's a first world problem, but of course with the windows open, then you're just out the door like normal. However, I'd probably be complaining if there was some big ledge here and it would confine the space in this cab. And so there's always something to complain about, I guess, because we're human. But to be honest, this is a very huge cab. In fact, being 6'3", I've got like over 6 inches of space over top of my head, and all kinds of leg room, which is quite different than what I was used to. And this particular model is a 3-seater wide, so the chassis or the cab is wider than the bed. So the bed on the back is a normal width for a 4-seater. But still, that bed is plenty big enough to do everything I've got to do. It's a nice little dump bed. You even have a, well, we talked about the windshield wiper first a little bit ago. It's just 1 speed, but it's sure better than no windshield wiper. The other rig I've been running, there's no windshield wiper, and I get out, keep a little squeegee in there. And the tilt steering. What else? I think the this engaging gear is backwards in my brain, and I actually heard somebody else saying that on YouTube. Turn this on. Down is park, Up is reverse. One more notch is neutral. High gear, and then over for low gear. In my mind, just because, who knows, I'm not dyslexic, but my brain wants to think of starting on the top, coming down to drive, maybe then reverse. I really haven't thought this that far through, but whatever. You know, everything's different, but I'll get used to it. Just takes some muscle memory. Just I would think that you would start at park and then come down to engage your gears. Another first world problem. The bed, I absolutely love. Got a nice tie down area. There's even these elongated holes across the front. There's 4 there, and there's 4, counting 1 in each corner of the bed. The bed's about 51 inches wide, 45 inches deep, and it has 1 latch to open. That's pretty basic for any pickup, but there's some side-by-sides out there that require 2 hands to open. And so if you're familiar with that, I'm speaking of the Kubota. Kubota 900 has a problem with these side. Even though this is plastic, it actually is more rigid. The Kubota has ended up bending out, and then my tailgate, it falls open. Pretty unfortunate. It usually happens at the worst time. A bunch of stuff falls out. Added this bumper for protection. It doesn't come stock. And poking around in the woods, you know I'm going to be hitting stuff and probably ending up at the parts counter at John Deere. So to avoid that, the bumper, also these guards on the taillights, and you've got your tow package down there, exhaust on the right. Bumper is integrated with some steps, and I find that pretty darn useful. Air filter on the right. And these doors have a really good gasket and have a super tight seal. In fact, when you're in the cab, it's very quiet. It's a very good operating, quiet machine, and it does help that this is a gas model. Also enjoy this big bench seat, big old deep storage, about 15 inches deep here, a little bit less on that side. There's a plug you can pull out if you want to, I don't know, fill this with ice, use it for beverages. It's up to you. The cell phone charging area right there, as well as a area where you could add your controls for a winch. There's the port already there. I may add one. We'll see. I've heard some people remark that they've never used their winch after they put it in. Nice grab bar. That's mounted to metal. And another one here. Great little machine. It's the cup holders are good. 1 on the door, both sides. 3 across the passenger side and 1 on the other corner over there. Oh, nice visors, as mentioned before. Nice cloth headliner. 4 over-the-shoulder seat belts. And kind of running out of things to say here at this point. Oh, roll-up handlebars. While this is an expensive machine and one might expect electric, kind of glad it's not. We're in a high, dusty environment, and pretty sure those things are always going to work. So why not? This model, the 835R, does come with the side mirrors and a rear view mirror. And I haven't got my lights up there yet, but they will be on order. So fueling is on the driver's side, right there opposite to the air filter on the other side. And a built-in tape measure right on the tailgate. Can't lie about the length of that fish now. At the moment, there's a pretty good rain shower going, so kind of noisy on the tin roof. Kind of made for a good opportunity to step into the cab and show you just how quiet it is. There's such a good seal on this cab, and I really do believe that John Deere's outfoxed the competition on their HVAC system and the just the quality of this cab. And the gas motor, unlike the diesel, obviously a little quieter. All of your instrument panels, just like being in a pickup. And there's also AC right there. And so AC, heat, and a nice little instrument panel for your gauges. But I would say I'm very impressed with this part of the machine. So there's no compromise in this. John Deere probably has the best technology for creating good climate controlled cabs. After all, they've been doing it in tractors pretty well before anybody else. So they've applied this technology to the side-by-side, and it's definitely noted. And check out that steep dump angle. I mean, nothing's gonna stick in that bed. That's a nice, some good vertical lift. And we got 54 horses all crammed into this tiny little compartment, which brings the next problem. The problem? Compact design and ease of service are never friends, almost never friends. The more compact something gets, the harder it is to work on, and that is what we encountered. When we did we had an 8-hour oil change that came up. There's an alert that comes on the dash, and that's nice. But Gary, my helper, went ahead and did the oil change and service on it. And so, of course, the dump bed comes up, and then there is the exposed motor, 54 horses in there, and the oil filter is on the side, and it's very difficult to get a wrench on. We're going to get ourselves a better wrench, but even still, no room hardly to wrench that sucker. And then when once that comes off, the oil just goes bleh, and it just goes across this plastic tray and just kind of runs all over the place before it kind of gets into your pan. And so we ended up degreasing everything when we were done, just because it was a miserable mess. It was pretty much a knucking nightmare, right? So, but that is what you expect, and that's what's going to happen if you do an oil change on the John Deere 835R. Compact equals difficult service. Now for the vertically challenged, an adjustable seat. Got like 6 inches of adjustment there. Pretty handy. Luckily I don't have to use that. John Deere made a big cab for a big dude, so kudos to John Deere. Alright, so the one con to the John Deere 835 definitely has to be, and I don't issue this lightly, would be how it descends a mountain, or I mean a hillside. Unlike the Kubota has a hydrostat transmission, and it's a diesel. And when you let off the pedal descending in the Kubota diesel, you don't even have to step on the brakes. It'll slow right down. Doesn't matter if it's low, high, whatever. Now, to the contrary, the John Deere gas model, as far as I understand, it doesn't have a hydrostat transmission like that. It's a centrifugal clutch. So I would imagine that's very similar to a snowmobile. I've got a couple of snowmobiles. And when you let off the accelerator pedal, it doesn't want to just slow down with gears. It literally freewheels. And so now we've made it to the top of the property, and turn it down a little side road here. We're going to descend the dam. I've got an access road that climbs our dam, and it's about a really fast 80-foot elevation gain. And yeah, I'm dropping about 30 feet right now, but this isn't the best example. As soon as we get into that descend, the real scare is after you're freewheeling a while and you go and you step on the gas pedal. Wow, there's a reckoning, because when you step on that gas pedal, it re-engages the belt to the centrifugal clutch, and it's literally like it's like whiplash. Kind of like when you're landing in a jet plane and they turn on the reverse engines to slow you up. Well, I hate doing this, but I'm going to give you a little sample of it. So here we are. I am riding my brakes because I don't want to go like 40. Now I'm going to step on the pedal. Whew. I really shouldn't probably be doing that. Now, the very unfortunate thing was yesterday, took my poor sweet little wife up here riding next to me, and I was in high gear this time, had it in low gear, and I thought, well, maybe low gear is going to be better for the clutch to kind of line up and meet the speed or whatever. If you slow down to a slower pace, yes, you can feather your pedal into it, but that was not the occasion yesterday. Instead, she almost hit the windshield. I've got the benefit of the steering wheel. Should have been wearing our belts. Of course, I'm wearing a belt right now. She hit her knee on the dash, and that was her second time in here. Not the most impressed. I mean, she likes the machine, but felt terrible, and not a good second impression for her. So of all these are my impressions of the machine. Do I like it? I love it. I love this machine. That's just one caution you need to keep in mind. I'm sure something like that's, I'll bet you there's a warning in the owner's manual about that, but, well, I haven't read that yet, so. All right, this probably is my last observation I'm gonna make. It's been a month now, and I'm about to climb the dam road, the dam access road. Right now I'm doing it, got a lot of power. In fact, I'm kind of slowing up because I don't want to run over my dog Wally. He's running in front of me. It easily ascends that steep hill, which is probably almost a 20% grade. Maybe it's not that much. I don't really know my percentages on that kind of stuff. It's steep. It's so steep that when you're walking down it, you'll literally roll on the gravel like marbles and skid down on your butt. I've done that. So now we're at the top. I'm gonna go back down. Previously made a video on this thing wanting to freewheel and just like go lightning speed downhill. So you got to ride the brakes. I've noticed improvement on the thing staying engaged to the clutch plate and not letting it just spool up and just let you run down freely. But it's still not great. So here we go, making the great descent. I'm in high range. It's freewheeling. I don't know, last night, okay, here's a steep spot. Now if I step on the pedal, yeah, it peeled out. So can't quite figure out why it works good sometimes and not today. Didn't work great. All right, well, I'm gonna leave you with this. It's been about a month of having the machine, and I'm wearing my $34,000 hat. Anyway, no regrets buying it though. I love the hat and I love the machine. I'm gonna do one more descend down the dam road. What do you mean? Am I cussing? No, it's the access that comes up to this dam next to the pond that I'm next to at the moment. And the big scare always has been descending this road in this particular machine. I've mentioned the Kubota. It's a diesel with a real transmission like a hydrostat. Has no problem. In fact, you let off the pedal and it just comes down and descends. This, however, is a different animal with a centrifugal clutch. So I'm going to try to keep it. I'm in my. I've got it engaged, and it is holding. It's holding a lot better. I had to step on the brakes there, and now for the last, you can hear the engine spooling up. Now if I push the gas, perfect. I mean, that was seamless. So I'll leave you with this. I mean, I was kind of giving it a bad rap. Still deserves a little bit of a bad rap. What I was doing wrong was sitting there at the top of the dam, and then as soon as those clutch plates get away from the belt, you're basically in neutral. And then you start going down the hill, well, it just freewheels, and there's no contact with the belt. And as soon as you introduce the gas pedal, it brings those plates back together, and who knows what your correlation with your speed and the speed of that belt is. So there's a major reckoning. It claps, or it makes contact, and that's when, of course, my wife hit the dash, and I felt like a real idiot. But anyway, also there's probably some adjustment that could be done. I'll look that up, and I know somebody out there in the big world of YouTube probably has all kinds of answers for me. So thank you for watching, and like and subscribe. There's not going to really be a whole bunch more review videos on this channel because, frankly, I'm out of cash. It's not like I have a pallet of cash sitting out back that I'm just going to go buy stuff and review it, although that would be fun. Next couple of videos coming up are going to be landscape related. We fixed a hedge that was very unconventional, so I'm just going to shameless plug. I can't wait for that one to come out because we took some hog panel. It's very unconventional. This hedge was falling apart, and we fixed it. I don't think it's ever been on YouTube before, so it's a whole new concept, something I started doing about 10 years ago, and I've had great success with it. So if that sounds interesting, tune in. Might sound really boring. Maybe you don't care about hedges, but well, I do because I'm a landscaper. So I think there's other guys out there that might find this technique handy. So that'll be out in about a week or so. Thanks so much for watching.